Welcome to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, that's me. Hi, and welcome to Positive Talk. Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. And welcome to the show, everybody. We've got a really cool show for you today because we are featuring a fellow broadcaster on the Brushwood Media Network. And she's got two businesses or three. I'm not even sure she can count. And a nonprofit. And she works with women that have been abused and also sex trafficking and all that kind of good stuff. Her name is Sondae Esposito. So welcome to the show, Sondae. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's good to be here.
And so first of all, tell me about your experience with Brushwood Media. Are you having fun? I know we talked before and you're so busy, it's hard to carve out the time. But when you do get to carve out the time, do you have a good time doing the time?
Oh, I do. I really enjoy it. I really do think that the show makes a difference for people, for their households, for their families, for just everyday life, being able to bring on different guests that can give all of our listeners new ways to think about keeping safe and different items maybe that people have invented that are out there that are helping people be safe. Yeah. I do. It makes a big difference, and I do enjoy doing it.
Well, and I will tell you that in the number of interviews I've done, and I've done a ton, most of the women that I talk to at one point in time, have been abused or traumatized, and some of them in their marriages, some of them in their relationships, and it's really cool to have somebody that is out there advocating for them on a regular basis. And you've actually got a nonprofit, which is called For Rescue. And congratulations on that. You've got a whole team of people there that are helping you help the world a little bit. And that's really all any of us can do.
That's right. It did. I always tell people, just like we say, it takes a village to raise a family. It takes a village, takes all of us to make a difference for the abuse and trauma that's going out there to make a difference. What we do in For Rescue, what we focus and specialize on is the extraction part of it. Unfortunately, we can't be everything to everyone, but what's good about once you're able to go in and do the extraction and rescue someone, we take the time to try to get them either to, whether it is a safe house or someplace that can help them get back on their feet. Sometimes it is just transporting them, maybe from one state to another. We've done it from one country to another to get them safe back home with their families. Sex trafficking and domestic violence victims, that goes anywhere from women to man to children. It happens to everyone in different ways when they've been a victim. It doesn't just, it's not, a lot of people think that domestic violence is between intimate partners.
Nope.
But really, domestic violence isn't. Domestic violence is, for instance, a little bit about my story. When I was a 4 or 5 year old, my father was in Korea at the time. My mom had 5 little girls, and her father was like, why don't we start, taking the kids every once in a while and give you a little bit of a break. That ended up turning into a situation where I was molested by my grandfather, and feeling so helpless, as you're growing up, and the trauma from that you learn to compartmentalize, you block a lot of it out until, somehow it starts to, you come back and you get therapy for it. But domestic violence is not just about partner to partner. It is about anybody that is a caregiver. For instance, elderlies, that to me in my mind is a domestic violence, because there's so many different causes of domestic violence out there.
Well, and I'm willing to say, being someone that's closer to being the older than I am being the younger, there is something that is a thing out there. It's called elder abuse. And it can be done by a caregiver, it can be by family members, it can be by a lot of people that are professed to want to take care of you and to be close to you, but they have an ulterior motive. And sometimes that is money. Sometimes that is they just want you to just go away and die. There's a lot to it,
A lot of
and
abuse. Yes,
and
unfortunately.
so it really is unfortunate, and especially in the Western culture, the one that we live in, we don't treat. There are some cultures that have multi-generational families living under the same roof, and
Yeah.
we don't do that here. We tend to, when you get old, they tend to say, "Well, Grandpa needs to go to the home now," and then they never see him again, kind of thing. So it really is tough. But you were abused as a child, but you've done incredible things. You have a security company, which is called,
EPI Security, Elite Protection International is what it actually stands for.
and you are the CEO. And there are not very many, especially in the, and I don't know why this is. Maybe you can help me. In the security field, there aren't a lot of female-owned companies. Well, why do you think that is?
Well, I mean, it is predominantly um, a man's world, I guess that you can say. I am seeing more and more. I do come across a lot more women in the past, probably 5 years, that I would say almost 10 years ago, and so that's always good to see. I just think that a lot of time when you're looking at security protection, it just always seemed to be more of a man's. A lot of time people look at protection as coming from the man, but we've come a long way, and people are realizing that women are just as strong and confident and smart to do this type of industry. I'm very proud of the work that I do. I have a huge passion for it. But there are very many times I will say, when if you're having to carry or help somebody, me 5'2" is not, I need backup. So I'm not the one that's out there that you're going to say I can do anything a man can do, because I don't think so, and nor do I care to. I believe God created us all for a certain reason, and that's why He created women to be the nurturers, to give birth, to raise our children. I'm very much a moderate. I'm not either this way or that way. But when it comes to security and stuff, it's very important that you have the right people in there that are skilled and able to do that work. So yes, I will hire women, very much so. But I will say there's a lot of cases if you're doing executive protection stuff, and you need to be bigger than your client, in my opinion.
Do you feel like a trailblazer?
I've been called that in a couple different instances. I definitely was raised by a man who was ex-military. He had retired from the military. Only he, had no boys, had 5 girls. I was the tomboy. Wherever he went, I went. So I was raised to always be confident and believe that if you want to do something and you have a passion for it, that you can do it. My dad was a huge entrepreneur once he retired. Yeah, he was my best friend. He taught me everything that I know, pretty much, as far as being who I am today.
Well, congratulations. Now, because you've got multiple companies and you've got a nonprofit and you're very, very busy, do you ever have time for yourself?
I do. I make the time. As I've gotten older, I realize that, we only have one life, and you have to take the time to love yourself and enjoy it with those people that mean most to you. So when I am not working, I'm either with my kids, someone from my family, or my really good friends. And I'm very blessed to have solid of all three of those. So.
Oh, that's awesome. So, you're doing the security work and you're also doing the nonprofit, which I think is hugely needed. I wanted to ask you, around the nonprofit, do you have a number or a way for people that are in trouble to reach out to you and to help you? And if you do, I'm sure you do. What is it so that we can talk about people reaching out to you?
Sure. Well, if you want to go to the website, it's the number 4 and then rescuefoundation.org. And it's the number 4 again, rescuefoundation.org. And the phone number for both, the nonprofit is like in kind of an entity, a different section off of my security company. They kind of both go hand in hand. But that phone number is 888-885-6438. And the security company website is episecurityguards.com. But you can reach either one of those companies at 888-885-6438.
Now you've got a whole team that works with you in regards to For Rescue.
Yeah.
And you've got like a director of counseling and resources and a director of security services and a whole bunch of folks. Are you able, when somebody reaches out to you, are you able to direct them to the proper therapist or the proper organization that can help them either get out of the bad situation that they're in, or to understand how bad the situation is that they're in? Because a lot of people don't get it for a very long time.
A lot of people, when you're in a traumatic situation in any type of a relationship, you don't realize how bad it is until you do get out of it. Sometimes it's just verbal. Sometimes it's just you've been kind of, kind of like maybe I'm brainwashed, I guess that you could say, and to thinking that it's normal when in fact it's not normal. And getting out of that abuse, once the rosy, the shades come off, or what we say, the fog lifts, then you realize, that it was not a healthy situation.
Hey, Sondae, I've got a special guest for you. I hope he's there. Stephen, are you there? You are live. Well, no, yes, it is, because Sondae Esposito is with me, and we're talking about her work. And she's on this network. Maybe you've heard of it, the Brushwood Media Network. Are you familiar with that? I will. I will. So, well, say hello to Sondae.
I can't hear him.
She can hear you.
No, I can't.
Oh, I'm sorry. You can't hear him? Oh,
I can't hear him. That's okay.
Dang it. Let me see. I will. And thank you, Stephen. And he says you're doing a great job, and he thanks you very much for the work that you're doing on Brushwood Media and Brushwood Media Network and all of that. I'm disappointed. I thought I could make that connection with you guys.
Okay, I know what you're talking about, and I appreciate all the opportunity that he's given me. He's making a difference, just like I am. It takes us and the whole network, and producers and the editing team and everybody to make this a good radio show happen. So I'm very lucky to have him.
Well, and I just want to say I've been in this business. I've been doing this a while, since like 2003, and I've run into a lot of radio stations and producers and directors and all kinds of folks like that. I got to tell you, this gentleman, and I'm not going to necessarily use his name, but this gentleman is one of the coolest people I've ever met. He has a real caring for the shows that he has on. He has a real caring for the network that he runs, and he does it with a lot of skill and caring for people. It's just really really remarkable. So I'm very very proud to be
Yeah.
a member of Brushwood Media Network.
I agree. He it is like he's a special person for sure.
And I really appreciate him coming on and talking with us a little bit. I wish everybody could have heard him. We'll see, but in any event, I need to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more with Sondae about all the things that she does, and she was probably going to be checking her day timer while we're at commercial. So because she's very very busy. We'll be right back.
You became a real estate agent for freedom, success, and real momentum. So why are you still stuck waiting for closings to save you? I'm Ophir Adar, founder of Real Momentum, and I help agents like you become seven-figure earners. My first client that I coached, brand new agent, made $250,000 back in 2006. What's the secret? You feed your white wolf. That's the part of you that's bold and unstoppable and a closer and able to build rapport quickly. So click Get Listings at Real Momentum and let's unleash your real estate potential.
Hi.
Hello, everybody.
And welcome back. Can you hear the music?
No.
Oh man, I got to figure out what the heck's going on with that, because I have these
Kevin,
beautiful.
When you do say my last name, it's Esposito.
Esposito.
Yeah.
Like Phil.
Yes. Just like Bill Esposito. Yes.
Yes, he was and by the way, I'm famous for massacring last names.
Oh, me too. It's embarrassing sometimes, especially when your guests tell you like 3 different times and you're like, how do I keep saying it wrong?
Well, that's why Brachelle's here, because she's the resident linguist. She understands not only English, but a little bit of Spanish too.
Yes.
So, welcome, Brachelle. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you. I am doing well. I'm so excited to have this. I was looking over your websites and I have so many questions in my mind, but really just focusing in on what the conversation already was and what you guys were talking about. And just lots of learning, because even in your website, just you take 60 seconds and you can learn so much. So I'm just curious if you guys haven't already talked about that. What exactly got you into this?
We touched a little bit on it. I experienced trauma as a child. My mom also was a severe alcoholic, and just she after my father and her got divorced, she ended up marrying another alcoholic who was very abusive, and two of the most traumatic things that's ever happened to me, along with what I've already shared, is my mom was actually beaten so bad that she was hard to recognize and we couldn't find a pulse. So we thought that we had lost her.
Mm-hmm.
And also just my mom then because of her alcoholism and the abuse, not too long after that, she slit her wrist in front of me. When you go through so many different types of trauma as a child and you feel so helpless, I just remember always thinking, if I can get out of this and overcome the trauma, whatever I need to do to make a difference, that I can give people that are experiencing things that I've experienced and different traumas, if I can give them hope, then I've turned the helpless into hopefulness for other people. So I always wanted to be able to make a difference when nobody could help me. I didn't have anyone to help me pretty much get out of the situations that we were in.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. I mean, it's super powerful. They say that it only usually takes that one person, but to know what that one person goes through to be able to help more people down the line usually brings a little more than others. And I think it's powerful too, because I've realized in my own journey of healing traumas from my childhood that it helps you start to recognize some of the things in yourself that you realize I don't have to blame myself for this way or thing about me that I didn't like. And I understand now how to change it. And it all comes back to loving yourself more. And I've been thinking about that a lot just recently, is how much love am I giving myself that is providing me to be in a good state with what's going on around me and how I'm handling it. Because if I'm not giving it to me and things around me are chaotic, I don't handle it well, and it kind of just sets you like straight back into that trauma mode. And it's really hard. It's something that you work on every single day.
It becomes muscle memory for you.
Yes,
So
yes.
a lot, just like when you see, they talk about children when they get potty trained.
Yep.
You know, they're all of a sudden they start wetting the bed again. It's like, I know that's kind of crazy way to
It's a good comparison. I like it.
do. Sometimes we go back to that because we don't. It's a habit that we were used to for so long.
Right.
But one of the things that I talk to people when I speak at whatever it's, I even speak at other nonprofits. When asked, I will do that because I think if you're able to make a difference for people and help them, even if I can't go and physically help them, if I can speak and change one person's life or help them get out of a situation or to encourage them to get out of that situation, then I'm doing exactly what I always wanted to do for my entire life. But so many people make the statement, everything happens for a reason. And I really want people to change their mind about that statement, because everything does not happen for a reason. I was not molested for a reason. My grandfather made that choice. God gives us all free will, right?
Mm-hmm.
He made that choice, and the consequences are what happened to me. And I don't believe that was meant to be, because I don't believe the God that created us ever meant for us to have the trauma that some of us go through. And there's a lot of people out there that have been through a lot worse than I have been. And I do not believe for 1 second that that was meant to be. I think we have free will, and people choose to do very, very bad things. And those that come out of it, that become victors and out of that mindset and are able to live a better life, it's a huge blessing. But there's so many people that are still in it.
So, Sondae, I got to ask you, because do you think that if your childhood was different, if you didn't suffer trauma, and by the way, that's not to excuse what your grandfather did, which was horrible, but do you think that you'd be where you are today if you didn't understand the trauma that you went through and made it a foundation of your life to make a difference for other people? Do you think that you'd be doing the same thing
I think
today?
that I made my trauma and what happened to me, I chose for it not to paralyze me. I made the decision to help others. But I could have just as easily done what a lot of people do and stay in it and have the fear that I'm never going to be okay. And that, it's our mindset. Our mind is a powerful thing. And when you do therapy, I tell everybody, do not think that therapy is a bad thing. And we're so blessed now to be able to do it online, in the comfort of our own home, where we feel more safe. Instead of having to go to somebody's office when we're uncomfortable. There's nothing wrong. Therapy is a huge blessing, but our brain, our mind is a powerful thing. And if we can get ourselves conditioned that, hey, you can do this, love yourself, talk to yourself, do your affirmations that they talk to us about, it's powerful.
Yeah.
Well, and even when you don't need to do anything, but if you choose to have somebody who can be a mentor for you, or somebody that has been through the wars, or is maybe a little older than you, they can help you with some of the things that you don't recognize yet. You will over time, but you don't necessarily, and somebody to look from the outside. Brichelle and I have formed a really close relationship, and some of the things that we talk about and that I tell her and talk to her about is just, like the gospel according to Paul McCartney, let it be.
Let it be.
and some of the other things, because when you're in it, it's like you're drowning, and you can't get out of it because you're just trying to breathe. You're just trying to stay alive. Whereas if somebody is there to help you and to grab you by the hand and pull you out of the water, that can help, don't you think?
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
There is a lot of ways out. You know, there are a lot of helplines and other nonprofits. We are so blessed to have the internet that if somebody needs help, they can Google it. They can Google a local place that they can go to. I always tell people, I'm surprised I spoke at a college not too long ago, and I was so surprised at how many young women have been abused and have been afraid to come and speak about it. And just telling them my story and speaking words of encouragement to them. I can't tell you how many of them would come up to me and just be crying about, I did not think of myself to be able to get out of this. But like your encouragement and the words that you said really gives me strength to knowing that I'm going to be okay if I just go ahead and choose to get out of this situation or go and speak about what happened to me and not be afraid. Because see, for a long time, I was called a liar about my grandfather because he was a deacon in the church. And for a long time, my own aunts and uncles thought that I made it up. And the day that my uncle came to me and took me to lunch, I was about probably 21 years old, I believe. He said, I want to apologize to you that I didn't believe you.
Mm.
I said, I really appreciate that. And I hope that it made a difference in your life because nobody wants to talk about trauma. Nobody wants to say that this happened to them. And we're all afraid to talk about it because exactly what happened to me happens to a lot of people. We're told it's our fault. And I know better now. My going through therapy and counseling gave me the strength that, hey, it wasn't my fault. I didn't ask for it.
Yep.
Nor did you deserve it in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
Yeah. Nobody ever does. And I think it's so sad too, because I think about the times when people find that that's where they find their security. That's all they know. It's their comfortability. And for whatever reason, they decide not to step out of it. And even if they don't just stay in it, but they become it. And then it creates like this whole ripple effect, the opposite direction that isn't healthy. But why do you think that it is so hard, other than just being in a fearful state? Do you think that there's certain things that we can learn from to help ourselves or help each other when someone is in that but doesn't feel like there is any options or a way out? Like, rather than trying to solve the problem for them, like, is it better to just try to talk and see where they're at and help them find the solution to getting out of it? Or because I know sometimes I've helped people help themselves, or I've had to step in and take control of the situation.
Yeah. One thing I want to make sure that we talk about, and I'm going to answer that in more depth.
Okay.
But the reason why my the number 4 rescue is because I think it's really important that everybody around the world, you wouldn't believe about how many people do not know this. But if you're in danger and you have trauma, this is the signal for help. And it can be very quick. Any way that you need to do it to show people, it's just 4 fingers up, close over your thumb. That is the signal. And that's why I call my foundation for rescue, because I want more and more people to know what this is, so that if we see it, we know that that person is in danger. If we need it, we're able to use it. Mm-hmm. And so getting that out there is really important because it can save lives. It really will save lives.
Especially for kids.
Yes, for sure. And to answer the rest of your
well, let's do this real quick. I know we need to take a break, and I want to give you time without cutting you off because I really want to hear you out. So I'm going to let Kevin take us into break, and I will be patient.
We're talking with Sondae, and Sunday's last name, Rochelle, is?
Esposito.
Thank you. And we're going to continue right after this. This is kind of like what I call our halftime break. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends who love and support you, look closer. There are youth right in your community who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. And for 50 years, Covenant House has worked relentlessly to keep them safe and protected. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. They get clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So look closer at Covenant House. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
And welcome back to the show, everybody. You're listening to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, and I normally play music there, and I can't because I don't know why. But anyway, Rochelle is here, and Sondae is here, and Sondae, do you remember the question that Rochelle asked you?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. So basically, I believe what you were asking me is how do we go about trying to hopefully get through to someone who needs help to get them out of that situation.
Right.
I say, don't stop talking. Be a safe place.
Okay.
Don't be judgmental.
Yep.
Have an open mind, because we don't really know to the extent just how much trauma that person is in and what they're going through. So be patient with them, be encouraging. Go ahead and do the research for them, depending on what their situation is and what trauma that they're in and what type of help that they're needing. Do that. Be a good friend and go and find that. A lot of times you'll see that it's about a 50-50 shot that the person that comes and asks for help will actually make the step to do it. They're in fear every day. They not only if it's physical, obviously they've been told every day they're going to be, probably killed. Verbal too, same thing. They're afraid if they leave, they're going to be killed, or they're going to kill the maybe their children. So many things that they're being brainwashed into believing. There was a situation where on 3 different occasions, I had a woman reach out to me using somebody else's cell phone. Mm-hmm. And that's something else that you can tell her. Maybe you let her use your cell phone to call people that she needs that could possibly come get her. Have them reach out to people, foundations like my foundation. When we do logistics for extractions, it's not just like, okay, cool, we'll be there in 15 minutes. It doesn't work like that. You have to get a team together. You have to do it very carefully, but you do have to move quick. And we can't make that decision for them. They have to make that decision. And on 3 different occasions, she had reached out to me saying, "I'm ready to go. Please, can you be here at this, can you have your team be here at this time?" And 2 times she didn't show up because she was afraid that he would find her. On the 3rd time, we were able to get her out. And a lot of times you hear back from them, but a lot of times you don't. And I have to stay focused on what I'm able to do. And I can't do everything I would love to. In the beginning, when I started doing this in 2016, I wanted to hold their hand and be there every step, because my trauma came back. I wanted them to, have that help every step. And I wanted to see them be okay. And I wanted them to know that I was there for them. But then it got to where a few of the women that I helped were becoming very dependent on me. And that's unhealthy for me.
Yeah.
So I have to make that choice on what my foundation is. And I've decided that we are strictly extractions unless I will mentor and encourage them. I will counsel them because I am able to counsel them.
Right.
Do know what trauma is. I do know, and I've dealt with it myself, getting out of situations, and also helping a lot of women getting out, and men as well. I've helped men get out of situations as well. Yeah, a lot of times it's just them trying to get through their divorce, and a lot of them were stay-at-home moms, and they gave up their careers to come home, and it's taken them 2-3 years to get out of a marriage that they don't want to be in. And that's abuse by the system. The system is causing more abuse on these women and sometimes men, because if the control is there where the money is. So, and you already feel less than because you've been told that you're not able and you're not capable. And so you don't believe that you can ever start over and that you're going to be okay. Sometimes it's just holding their hand, mentoring them, being on the phone with them hours and hours and hours through this whole process. But that's what I chose to do. That's my mission and my passion, is to help those that are going through and are in bad situations get out of it. But I have to at some point guide them. Once we do an extraction, let's say, I have to do the best that I can to get them as safe as I can. And then I pass the torch, and I have to move on.
Yeah. Well, and that teaches, I mean, you're not there to help them, to teach them to go be dependent upon someone else, which usually leads back to that same trauma. So I think that's very powerful. I mean, you make that first step, you got to keep making those choices every single day and time after that. And I'm hearing you talk about all these situations, and I'm thinking about my life and all these things. Is there more of a statistic on more people who experience trauma early on in their life and then kind of have to get through it as they get older and work through it? Or is it kind of just with people just randomly all over at every different age point of life, somebody experiences something in some sort of relationship?
Sometimes it becomes a repeated pattern. Let's say, sure, you've got girlfriends who they tend to pick the wrong guy, and one after
I've been that one. I'll admit it.
pick the wrong guy, and they're either verbally abusive or they're mentally abusive.
Yeah.
But it's because of what they say, the love bomb thing, right? So they make you feel secure. They tell you you're beautiful. They tell you they love you. They get the power from you. They tear you down, and they know how to lift you back up to get you right back at the place to where you think it's okay for you to stay, and they're going to change. I've been doing it long enough. They don't change.
Yeah, I think
they don't change.
Just for the people in the back.
They don't.
Well, narcissistic behavior is really insidious at how it works, and how people tend to control other people, and that even means that sometimes you'll reach out to a friend who is under that spell, and for whatever reason she's no longer available to you. Her cell phone doesn't work anymore. There's a lot of, because it's all about control. And
every trauma is different too, and every trauma is different. Every person is different. Narcissists, it's never their fault. It's always your fault, and you're the one that needs help, and you're the problem. And a lot of times they really don't think they're the problem, but you have to choose yourself at some point and realize you're going to be okay. No matter what, you're going to be okay. For sure.
Well, and I want to touch on that too. I think it's important for people to hear this. I want to make sure you agree with me, because if you don't, I want to know why.
Okay.
Mental, physical, emotional abuse, not one or another is less or worse than another, right? Like each one,
they're equally toxic. They're equally detrimental. If it's a physical abuser, you could be killed. If it's a mental abuser, it can drive you to kill yourself. I mean, it's not not all of it is the same. It's just different trauma. It's different abuse. It looks different, but it are how it causes someone or what happens to the victim is just as detrimental as the other, in my opinion.
Well, and I've heard of so many situations where it's either, oh, well, I never put my hands on you, I never open-handedly hit you, or it's I pushed you around a few times, but I never was mean to you, I never called you names. And that's where I think, it doesn't, you might as well have hit that person, and you might as well have told them to kill themselves. Our brain doesn't understand that difference. So
That's right.
I just wanted you to hear you say that for our audience, because I think that's important.
No, I agree with you 100%, for sure.
You guys are having a great conversation. I don't even know why.
You could have gone and ate lunch and came back, Kevin.
I know. I know. All day.
So I wanted to ask you, because we mentioned this before the start of the show, and it's been a long. Oh, I did not realize this. Okay. We were talking about the divorce and getting a divorce, and I did not even realize this because we didn't even talk for the 90 days that we needed to wait. But I didn't really, like in Washington State, there's a 90-day mandatory waiting period before you can file for divorce, before the decree can be granted, which can be negative for people that are in trauma or are in abusive relationships, I would think. Sondae, is that true?
100%. In Virginia, if you don't have children and you want to get a divorce, you have to separate for 6 months. If you have children, you have to be separated for a year. And if you are a stay-at-home mom and the money is controlled by your husband, where can you go in that time period that you're stuck having to live in the same house? You can't cohabitate, like you're supposed to have different bedrooms, but you're still being forced to be in an abusive situation. That's abuse by the law, in my opinion. And nobody should have to stay married to somebody if they don't want to. And people argue with me about this. It blows my mind, the people that argue with me about it, because they're like, well, what's wrong with that? Like, they may decide that, to work out. I'm like, no, you go to counseling before you get a divorce.
Once you're to that point, I don't think.
And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you're not even. How do you see that this is a healthy thing for anybody, who, man or woman? If you don't want to be in a relationship, you should be able to get a divorce within 30 days. If it has to do with money, fine. At least there should be a mandatory 50-50 of what you have, so you can each go your own separate ways and be in a healthy environment. Because I have seen it happen too many times where the abuser gets to punish the victim for a little while longer.
So there's no laws on getting a divorce and having abuse be involved. That's not a thing?
If you have proof. That's the thing. If you have proof. But can you prove when you're mentally abused? How do you prove that? You can go and say, well, you mentally abused me, I need to get a divorce right now. And then you have to go to the courts and prove it.
And that's just a whole nother court case.
Well, I'll just have them talk to her, and they'll figure out she's crazy. But no.
Well,
I'm half joking, dear, wherever you are. Don't sue me now. But
I just think that the system's broken when it comes to, if I can go to Vegas and get married tomorrow, why can't I get a divorce and file today and be able to have somebody looking out for me, being like, okay, whether you want to be in it or not, she doesn't. And she has the right to file for divorce and get away from the situation. And the judge forced them to split the finances at that time. Then they can come back and have the conversation of what are we going to, do with the, assets and stuff like that. I just think that there is not enough laws protecting victims who are in abusive marriages getting out of them. It's really hard to prove.
And I'll tell you why, and you can tell me whether you agree with this or not agree with this, but the reason that is so hard and that they have these waiting times
I know
and
what you're
so
going to say.
forth and so on, it has to do with the fact that laws are predominantly written by men.
I was going to say the attorneys are making a lot of money, and so it's really important that we need them.
Exactly. And but
And
but
yes,
and
laws are predominantly written by men, but it is changing. Men are opening their eyes. More men are opening their eyes that are actually good men and are seeing how bad domestic violence and all the different types of abuse is. And I'm really, really glad to see we've come so far with men and women in the United States being able to be at any role that we want to be at. There's judges, there's so many politicians that are women. It makes me very proud to see them. But the law for divorce needs to change.
Yep,
it was written a long time ago, and it hasn't kept up with the times and stuff. By the way, we are talking, Rochelle, who are we talking to again?
Sondae Esposito. And before we take this break, I wanted to share that we've got Samuel. He is one of our favorites in Kenya, and he's shouting us out, saying hello, all three of us. And he says, really, Brother Kevin, this is positive talk. Proud of you. Keep it up. So just had to share that because you deserve that, Kevin, and you should feel good about that. We wouldn't be able to have these conversations if it wasn't for you having this. And I love that we touched on divorce because it's not even just the victim, who's usually the mother or the father, but what about all the other kids and the people in the house who are experiencing what that relationship is affecting? It just goes so far.
Trauma for them. It's so stressful. It's so stressful.
It is. So when we come back, I have a question, and then I will let us run out of time. So don't go anywhere. We only have like 15 minutes left.
Yep, and our friend from Kenya, I'd go there, but they have snakes there. I know a guy they actually have a pet cobra. Ew. We'll be right back after this.
When the game is on the line, championship teams know the game plan. They communicate and work together to win. We all need a game plan to protect ourselves online. Talk to family and friends so they know how to stay safe too. Create strong passwords, turn on multi-factor authentication, update software, and recognize and report phishing, because online safety is not something you want to fumble. Get more game-winning tips at CISA.gov/secure our world. Then share them with family and friends.
And welcome back to Positive Talk. That is so weird that I can't play my music. I'm telling you, I've got to figure that out. But Brachelle is, and thank you for joining us, Brachelle, because you're adding a lot to the conversation. And we were talking with Sondae
I can't with you, Kevin. I just can't.
Brachelle, who are we talking to again?
Sondae Esposito, and your website is, I don't have it pulled up.
For Rescue Foundation.
For Rescue Foundation.
My security company is EPIsecurityguards.com.
And could you, Brachelle, could you put the number that references that on the screen for people who would love to contact her and perhaps need some help? While she's doing that, I just want to mention there is a national hotline that you can go to. It's called 988. If you're a military veteran, you go 988 and hit 1. And if you are just anybody else, you just hit 988 and tell them what your issue is, and they will work to get you some help wherever you are in the United States. So, and those are staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So at least they were. I hope they still are. So go ahead, Brachelle. You got 15 minutes. Go, girl.
Okay. Well, I'm going to get this into the chat so we can share it at the end of the show with all your links. But I wanted to go back to talking about kids a little bit. I've noticed that more times than not, maybe the experience has been different from you, but adults are usually more willing to get out of it. They will just have more of the excuses, but a lot of times I'm either seeing I guess it happens with adults too, but kids trying to help each other, or as they're growing up and they're like, well, yeah, this person does this, this, and this, but I really love them. And they also give me these things, and they do this and they do that. I think between middle school and like 21 are the hardest years to figure out in relationships with people, and how to set boundaries and how to understand them. So I guess what I'm trying to ask is, in the situation of knowing that somebody is friends with somebody that's toxic or unhealthy, but they love them and they're great, and there's not really bad enough things that make them want to walk away or not have that relationship, what do you tell that person? Like, how do you explain that to them from an outside perspective, that you're seeing them?
Well, that's
Like,
where
you see where it's about to go. How do you help them?
very unfortunately, that's very sensitive thing, because it can backfire on you.
Yep.
It can backfire as you're the problem.
Yep.
You're trying to help a situation, but even though maybe this kid had come to you about it, well, if it somehow gets back that they spoke to you, and you're trying to talk to maybe family members of the abuser to say, hey, this kid will possibly
Turn
say,
on you.
that's not what I said.
Yep.
Because they're afraid. So give them as much support and love that you can in a healthy way, and offer them other people to talk to, so that you're not the only one. Because there's always safety in numbers, right? And that goes for many things, different things, but this is another one where it's your safety in numbers. So try to get somebody else, have them tell the story to somebody else without your encouragement or anything, or you speaking with them, because you don't want to be accused of coaching.
Okay. Yeah. And I love that, because I myself have been in that situation with many kids. And it's also come to the point where it's like, I know that if I do take it one step further, it's really just going to cause chaos, and it's not going to help anyone or anything. But I did feel helpless, because, as another kid who may have been even a little older, what was I supposed to do by just sitting there watching it, knowing about what's happening, feeling hopeless? So I want people to really hear that that can be a good outlet. If I would have heard that as a child, I probably would have started talking to a lot of other people. But it goes back to having just that somebody that you can trust, and being that for a child.
Also, I mean, say go to your counselor so that it is reported. It's okay if they don't like the counselor. We just want to make sure that it's written somewhere, right?
Right.
And then say, if you're comfortable, maybe talk to your teacher, maybe not just your teacher, maybe you talk to an aunt or an uncle, but always encourage them to speak to other people and know that they're safe, and that it is okay for them to talk about their trauma.
Okay. It's very good. I think that kids don't hear that, it's always be quiet or do this or do that. And I want to just touch on this. It might make us go down a rabbit hole, but one form of abuse, I believe, as a child that will affect you really badly, that many people grow up with normally, is the simplicity of lying at an early age. When you have adults telling you, hey, don't tell mommy this. Hey, don't tell daddy that. Hey, don't tell your sister. Hey, don't tell that person I said this. When you're under the age of 10 years old, that causes so many problems down the line.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been curious, because I think about it in my own head. Do you think it makes us lie to ourselves more than we would have if someone else hadn't have been telling us to lie to someone else?
Well, I think that we see our parents, and actions speak louder than words, right?
Right.
So even though, yes, you're being told, hey, we don't talk about this outside of the house. A lot of times that's a problem, because people say, well, I mean, my nieces, I've got family members that, was in a very toxic household, and they were just told, well, we don't talk about it. We didn't talk
Yeah.
about it. We're not allowed to talk about what happens at the house. Not allowed to talk to anybody about it.
Mm-hmm.
Just encouraging that it's okay. But if you're told that hey, we keep secrets, it does teach you to lie. I think it's a really bad example. I think that you should not be telling your children, hey, don't do this and don't do that. Lead by a good example, because that's what they're good. Am I answering your question, by the way?
Yeah. And I think it's mainly touching on how much you start to believe the lies you tell yourself. And I'm starting to
We do
realize
tell
that
ourselves
is
a lot.
tied.
We do tell
Right.
ourselves a lot of lies, because we're also, not only is the abuser teaching us how to treat ourselves, we're
Mhm.
talking ourselves into that it's okay. And
Would you say that's a form of denial?
Of course.
Okay.
For sure.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Very
It's
interesting.
also a way to protect ourselves. Right?
True.
Marginalizing it.
Yes. Mhm.
If it's becomes normalized to tell lies to other people, don't tell her this, or if mom and dad are doing that kind of thing. To normalize it, it makes it really easy for, well, mom and dad did it, why can't and I'll do it, and so lying is really insidious, because you don't necessarily remember the last lie you told, and so consequently you lose your credibility because you can't remember what it is that you told people that you lied about.
Another lie to cover that lie.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. By the way, again, we're talking with Sondae Esposito.
Thank you, Kevin.
I got it right.
Esposito, there's no N.
Did I screw it up again?
It's kind of cute though. You give people new names.
And it's Sunday. I don't know. Well,
Esposito.
but you see, Phil was Espinito.
No, not the hockey player, Phil and Tony Esposito.
Yeah, it's the same. Okay. All right. Well, apparently I'm not fluent in English as well, so it's just
I had a great time speaking with you guys today.
Yes, thank you.
We have really enjoyed it.
Yes, up on the screen, forrescuefoundation.org.
Yes.
Do not be afraid. Go there. Even if it's to help somebody else, it's never wrong. Even if you just send them the link as an idea of something to be curious on. And before I ask you to share anything with our audience, I'd like to tell everybody here that one thing I've realized, even though I may be young, is there is a lot of power in forgiving the people who have hurt you, by understanding that they may not be able to come to you and give you that closure and say, I'm sorry, because then they have to take responsibility and know what happened to you they are at fault for. So when you're able to forgive them, it teaches them to be able to forgive themselves so that they can give you that apology. Just some food for thought. It's not easy, but it's worked out for me. So
yeah, and you know what? It's okay for you to forgive them, because you're taking your power back. Sometimes when we have a hard time and we're like, well, they don't deserve forgiveness, right? It's like you're not really saying you forgive them for them. You're forgiving them for yourself and taking that power back.
And that doesn't mean that you have to go make friends with them again, but
you don't even have to talk to them.
You can even flip them off behind their back. But all you're doing is
positive, Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin.
Yeah, Mr. Positive talk.
He's been a little spicy lately.
I see that.
Okay, I'll shut up now.
Give your wife my number, Kevin. She made it.
Yeah.
So Sunday, if somebody wants to reach out to you, what's the number they go to?
888. Sorry, I'm really bad at learn my own website's number. It's For Rescue, like she said, it's forrescuefoundation.org is the website, and the number is 888-885-6438.
Okay, 888-885-6438.
And that number will get you to our office. line. And if you need security for your own like company or for whatever you may need it outside of a rescue, that number goes to our security company, and it helps with anyone who needs help through the foundation or needs security guards.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much, Sondae, for being here.
Thank you, guys.
And please
And if
come
you-
back. I have so much more we need to talk about.
And if you thought about changing your last name to, like, I don't know, Smith, that would be
No, I
better.
like it.
You know what? It's a powerful name.
It is.
It is indeed.
Yeah,
And
my dad gave me that. I'm keeping it.
And by the way, if you want to visit her on the Brushwood Media Network, when did her show air?
So it's on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, and it's Safe and Sound Security Talk.
And that is on the Brushwood Media Network, and the world's #1 syndicated digital network. And I encourage everybody to go there. Thank you, Sondae. Thank you, Michelle. And everybody have an awesome afternoon. And I'm going to go to see if I can get my dentures to fit better. Hold on.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Our purpose is to provide everyone with a positive, entertaining, and educational experience. I would love your feedback and comments about the show, including possible topics and great guest suggestions. Please email me at kevin@kmmedia.pro. And remember, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got. That's Kevin@kmmedia.pro.